very impromptu. But I was listening to Emily's story and a lot of your guys' stories, and I was so touched, and I was a little inspired. So, I wanted to share a little bit. I like to cook, and if you guys saw the flyers around, the vast majority of my campaigning and such was, hey, come eat my food. And I never really thought about why. I thought it was because of Gordon Ramsay and a lot of other things for a long time. But recently I've been reflecting a lot more, and I think I'm up here because I just really want to brag about somebody in my life, and I guess pay homage to him, because I don't know how much longer he'll be around. The person I want to brag about is my grandfather. We came to the States when I was 3, and even before that, when I was born, I was the first male grandchild in our family for him. And in Chinese culture, that's just a really special thing. That's a really exciting thing for a grandparent. And he named me. When we first came over to America, I remember that growing up, my grandpa had terrible hearing. And it wasn't until later, when I was kind of like in high school, that my parents told me why. And they said one day we had been in New York, and we had been there to see this parade. We had just come to America, immigrants, America's so great, parade, have this every day, it's crazy. And we were so excited. And we had gone to see this parade, and there was like a military procession during the parade, and they had brought out these big cannons, right? And I was a little, 4 or 5 years old. My grandpa was had me in his lap, and they were about to set off these cannons, and the parade conductor tells everybody, hey, cover up your ears, because you could damage your hearing. And my grandpa, because I was so young and I was in his lap, took his hands and covered my ears. And ever since, he's had a hearing aid, but he wanted me to be able to just be safe and be protected. And he literally sacrificed his hearing just so I could have that one little moment of, enjoying the parade. And I remember growing up, he'd build me clubhouses, in the backyard. When I told my parents I wanted a tree house, we didn't have a tree in our yard, so I don't know where I wanted a tree house. So instead, he just built me like a yard house. And he did all that for me. I remember him being like this, this big, tall guy. This is where I got my height from, and my dad's really short. And this big, brawny guy. And I remember in college, this is kind of a confession, is I stepped away from him and my culture and so much of who I am. I think I betrayed so much of Asian culture and my family culture and my traditions because it's not really popular. Nobody's like, yo, let's get some pho. That's not, that's not a thing. So in college, I went out, I drank, I did all the things. And every time I did it, I think I subconsciously threw a wedge in between myself and my family. And only after I graduated, I got away from all that, and I started, and I came to med school, I think I started to appreciate more of what my family has really done for me. My grandfather is in heart failure right now, and we found out a month or so before I came to medical school. And over Christmas break, I went to see him. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to because I was scared. I remember my mom got really mad at me because I didn't tell her the reason I didn't want to see him. I just said, hey, look, I have a lot of friends. I'm only in Columbus for a little bit. I might not be able to manage to see him. And she's like, how could you do that? He's your grandfather. He loves you so much. And I didn't have the nerve to be like, oh, I don't want to see him because I'm scared. But of course, being a good mom, she made me go. And I went to see him, and he'd been through several surgeries at this point. And I opened the door to his little apartment, and he has a walker, and he's sitting on the bed, and he's pale, and he's half the size I remember him. And the first thing he says to me is, "Have you eaten yet?" And I realized that all this time I've been inviting people over to eat, and I've had this interest in cooking. And I realized at that moment, it's not because of Gordon Ramsay or YouTube videos or MasterChef or anything, but it's because of my grandfather. And because of everything he's done for me. And I remember sitting in that apartment and him trying to get up on his walker and me trying to insist, like, no, stay. And he's like, no, Z, you have to remember, and that's, you have to remember to eat. You have to remember to take care of yourself and sleep. And he's the one that's dying. And I don't really have a conclusion to this story. But if I had to pick one, I think I just wanted to brag about my wonderful, amazing grandfather. And because I've never done it before. And I wanted to appreciate him in front of all of you guys. And I guess just express, it's so easy where we are to forget the people who gave us the opportunities to come here. And I know it's cliche, and I know you guys probably don't need to hear it again, but appreciate those people and tell those people that you love them. Because for those years, right, while I was in college, I didn't do it, and I still don't do it. And it's because of events like this, and people that have shared, like you guys who did, that remind me. So thank you guys for that, and thank you for reminding me.